And as it screamed in my face, I felt a chill go through my bones, almost like my very soul was shivering. There was no breath on my face. There was no air escaping from this gaping mouth that was screaming at me. The scream sounded like the dying gasp of a demon, but I was still paralyzed. I was standing there with my weapon pointing at it, frozen in time. But I can feel my heart beating rapidly, feel like my heart was in my throat. And this air of fear just enveloped me. It's like this thing exhumed fear. It excreted fear. But I knew I had to do something. It was getting closer to me. It was slowly climbing up the steps, closer. Its mouth getting closer to my face. And then something escaped from the bottom of my throat, from deep within my gut. Maybe it was my soul crying out, but it wasn't my voice. It said, Allah. And the thing backed up a minute. It looked at me confused. And that confusion seemed to break that paralyzing fear that grasped me. So I hid around the corner and put my back to the wall. Had my weapon held up like this in both hands. I was trembling a little bit. I knew my weapon was useless, but it still gave me a sense of strength. I turned to look at it, and it was still there, but it was at the bottom of the stairway now. It seemed to have shrunk a little bit. It wasn't as big or as tall or as slender. It seemed to be in the shape of a woman. It stuck out a long, pointy, dark finger. Because again, it looked like this, just a shadowy figure pointed at me. I didn't know what that meant, but it couldn't mean anything good. And then I heard something. I think it was its voice. It's sounding like the wail of a funeral horn. I won't forget you. It sounded like the grating of a coffin sliding open. Those words startled me. Like, what do you mean you won't forget me? It just kept pointing at me and staring at me. And it said again, I won't forget you. And then it got louder. I won't forget you. I won't forget you. It started screaming, I won't forget you. I just stared at it. My heart was racing. I felt that fear gripping me again. It just kept pointing and kept screaming, it won't forget me. Then I heard my daughter crying.